Hey everybody, it's Lindsay and I'm here today to share with you how you can make this really quick teacher card that you see on the screen. Also over on my blog, I give the free plans to make this pencil holder that you see in the background that's shaped like a pencil. I've got the whole picture tutorial over on my blog if you want to go check that out and see how you can make that also. But for right now, I'm just going to show you how you can make this card. Now I'm using my Misty for my stamping today so I can get it all done at once just to make this a little bit quicker. However, you can use acrylic blocks just to get these stamps on the paper. I am using the Learning Curve stamp set from the Alleyway Stamps, and I have just placed some of these images on my cardstock, arranged them the way I know I want them, and put that teacher stamp right up there in the right hand corner. Now I have moved it a little bit away from the right because I am going to come in and add a few little dots so it looks like you're finishing your sentence on the inside of the card. But right now I'm just using some Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and I am double stamping these just to get a nice clean impression with them. And then I'll go ahead and pull this out and we'll start to color. So I have taken my panel here that I stamped and I have taped it down to a piece of hardboard. Now you can get these at Simon Says Stamp, and I will link this over on my supply list on my blog. However, you can buy these at the hardware store too. You can get a nice big panel and cut them down to the size you want. I plan on doing that with some of mine just because I don't mind to use the saw here and there, so I can get my own and cut them down to the size I want them to be. So just a little information there for you. Now for these images, I stamped a Memento Tuxedo Black ink because it works with your alcohol markers, and that's what I'm using to color in these images. I'm using the Dick Blick Studio brush markers, and if you want to see my review, that's on my YouTube channel also, just because Copics are so incredibly hard to find right now. So I picked these up and they're working out great so far for me. So I'm just using different colors to color in all these images. I am trying to keep it more true to what these objects would actually be colored in real life. The yellow pencils, the top of the glue bottles is always orange. So I'm trying to keep this pretty well true to how they really would be in real life. Another thing I try to do is I try to keep the same color range. So if I use the orange on the glue bottle lid, so I'm going to bring that orange over to this ruler just to keep the card panel more cohesive and keep a flow going across the card. You don't want to bring in a bright purple here when I haven't used it on the other objects as well. So it just keeps it a little bit more cohesive when you use the same color multiple times. Now I did mess up a little bit on my crayon there. It's really not supposed to be a black wrapper, but it'll have to do this time. So once I was all finished with coloring, I went ahead and took a micron pen. You could use a Sharpie, you could use whatever you wanted. Just get a black pen and draw 3 little dots so it looks like you're going to finish your sentence on the inside of the card. I just thought it was a cute idea and thought it add just a little bit something more to this overly simple card. So on the inside of my card, I wanted to add a little bit of coloring also. So I'm just taking more stamps from the same exact stamp set. I'm taking the pile of books, and I'm putting these on acrylic blocks because I'm just stamping a few here, so no need to get out my Misty right now. And then I'm also not going to mask these. They're clear stamps so I can see through, so I can just line this worm up very nicely so it looks like it's sitting on top of the books there. And then I'm going to go ahead and bring in this little sentiment stamp, and it says, "You're out of this world." So I'm just going to stamp that to the left of these images that I've already stamped, and then I'll go ahead and start coloring these as well. Now unfortunately the stamp set I'm using is no longer available. The Alleyway Stamps did close down its stores, which is unfortunate. They had some really great stamp sets. But I did do a quick search, and there is a Paper Smooches stamp set that I will link over on the supply list that's very similar. And also there are just tons of teacher related, school related stamp sets that would make a very similar look on a card. So I went ahead and finished coloring, and then I'm just going to put this card together very simply. I'm not adding too much dimension at all other than with a few sequins. So I'm just attaching both panels to an A2 side folding red card base that I made from some Basil cardstock. And I'm just attaching this with some double-sided adhesive. I'll put one panel on the inside, one on the outside, and then I'm just using some Simon Says Stamp Moonshine sequins, the mixture of them, and I am just attaching a few, I believe 5, to the card front around the teacher sentiment on the front. I wanted to keep this nice and simple, not a lot of dimension, so it would travel well with my 7-year-old. He's not always the most careful, so I just wanted to make sure that this would make it to the teacher in a good condition. So I'll just finish attaching these with some glossy accents and my Quick Sticks tool, and then that finished off the card for today. And if you want to see how to make the gift that goes along with this, I do have that up over on my blog. So you can head over there if you want to see how you can make that to go along with this card. As always, I will leave you guys with a close-up of this card and just a few pictures. For more information and the supply list, you can head on over to my blog, craftingwhilecaffeinated.wordpress.com. The link is in the description box below, as well as the I in the top right hand corner. That will get you there too. Thank you guys so much for watching, and happy crafting.